Welcome to AtVenture Dealflow, the podcast where we talk to founders who are actively fundraising and the investors who back them. In this episode, I'm talking to my new co-founder, Tessa de Flines. She's an active angel investor and she is a co-founder of AtVenture Platform. Tessa was also one of the initiators of her Capital Connection, which was an event where over 200 female founders and investors came together. More than 70 female founders submitted their pitch decks, and finally we managed to invest 200K in 5 female-led startups with a group of female angel investors. This was really great. Tessa brings a lot of experience in operations and scaling in various industries. First, she was working in banks and corporates, and now she's working in a role as a fractional COO. And of course, she puts the money where her mouth is because she is an angel investor and the co-founder of AtVenture Platform. Welcome, Tessa. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Laurie. It's great to be here.
So for those new in the space, what is angel investing?
It's always good to start with the basics. So angel investing is when people invest their own money, so their own personal wealth, into startups. And this can be in different forms, either in equity, so getting shares of a company, or a loan that at some point converts into shares. But I think the most important difference between, for example, venture capital is that you're investing your own money and not doing it on behalf of others.
Yes, exactly. You yourself, why did you decide to become an angel investor?
So when I first started working in the startup and scale-up ecosystem about 7 years ago, I was an advisor, working full-time as COO for smaller companies. But when I moved more into the advisory role, I realized that some of the companies that I worked with, I was so excited about. I was really passionate also about what they were doing, and I wanted to add value in a different way. So that's when I started exploring angel investing to see if I could also add value financially, but therefore also be more involved in the further development of this company. So we started angel investing by joining a group called Great Stuff Ventures, and there's a group of 20 of us investing in great people doing great stuff. So that was for me also a great way to start doing it with a group, and I highly recommend that to other people.
So Tessa, you see many pitches, many founders looking for funding. So what are the 3 key things you are looking for in a startup before you invest in them?
Yeah, the first thing that I look for is, or look at, is the team. I'm definitely not unique in that, but I look, are passionate about what they're doing. Are they the right people? Do they have the right skill set? Do they have the right capabilities? Are they not only visionaries, but are they also able to execute on their vision and their strategy? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, what problem are they trying to solve? And are they not only obsessed with a product, but also with the customers and what the customer wants? And they're creating a solution that is a must-have, and not just a nice-to-have. That people really want to be able to, or be willing to pay for this, and that it's not just something that gets some users, but then that doesn't go further, because the market, and that's the third thing, the market needs to be big enough. Is this something scalable? Is it something that can really become big? Because as angel investors, that's really the way we get our returns. We invest in different companies, but if a company can't become big, then we may never get the returns, the high reward returns for the high risk.
Yeah. Okay. Clear. So the team is important. It should be a must-have, and a market, and a big and growing market. All right. And okay. Also, that's aside from the founders. But what are you bringing to the table? Of course, next to money, what is your value add as an angel investor?
I think the first thing that I always like to say is that I'm their biggest supporter. Their ambassador, their fan. I'm telling everyone about their product or service, whatever it is, and I'm always willing to spar with them. I think I help them primarily when it comes to structure or getting their strategy sharper. That's really where my unique skill set comes in. And I think nowadays, my network. So I've built up in the past 5 years, especially, I've built up a very strong network in the startup and scale-up ecosystem, also with investors.
Yeah.
So I see that's something where I can add a lot of value to companies I invest in.
So to help them basically with their funding round or with the next funding round, maybe. All right. And how many companies have you invested in so far as an angel investor? Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually recently counted. I've done 21 investments, some through Great Stuff Ventures, some directly. And through Great Stuff Ventures, because that's a cooperative, I have exposure or I have ownership indirectly of another 15 companies. So, I've done some. I don't put money in every single Great Stuff Ventures deal, but because I'm part of the cooperative that does invest,
Yeah.
directly also, or I guess like kind of directly, also still have ownership in, because as Great Stuff Ventures, we have more than 30 portfolio companies now.
Yeah. All right. So in total, actually 21 plus 15.
Yeah.
Basically. So 36 already and counting. All right. Great. And can you share maybe a story with us of one of your portfolio companies, one of the 36 or of the 21, whichever you like, where you really had a real impact? So where you could really show your value add to this company.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with so many different portfolio companies, you can't add or be as involved in all of them as much as you'd like to, but sometimes it's also not needed. I think the one I always like to highlight is Elfin. They were actually my first solo investment outside of Great Stuff Ventures. Also, when I decided that I want to focus more on investing in female-led companies. So Elfin is a platform that has the goal, the mission of helping women become more financially independent. And I think by now I've ensured that there's a bunch of new members. I've opened up my network for investors to them. I've helped them prepare pitches. I've reviewed their MVPs and given feedback on them. And also I spar with the founder on a regular basis just to see how I can help her. So it's not, I'd say, one big thing, but it's a lot of smaller things along the way. Yeah, that's where I at least added value and continue to add value when it comes to Elfin.
Yeah, great company, Elfin. So well done. Okay, interesting too. And one last question, I think, about you personally as an angel investor. So it sounds like you are really an active angel investor in terms of how much time you spend and what you do for a startup. Is that true? Is that how how you can determine yourself?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely very active when it comes to scouting startups. As I mentioned, with so many investments, it's harder to be extremely involved in every single portfolio company. Then it'd be almost a full-time job. But I'm always available to help them. So I always say I help as much as they want me to help. So, but definitely in terms of scouting for new startups. Also, I spar with a lot of, especially female entrepreneurs that may not end up being a portfolio company of mine, but that still need help. I spar with a lot of them as well. And of course, with AtVenture, my angel investing is basically going to become my full-time gig.
Your day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And getting much more angel investors in the space as well, because let's talk about AtVenture Platform. We just launched, and we launched AtVenture Platform because we saw some problems, right, Tessa? So we saw that the current ecosystem is not diverse, it's not inclusive. Speaking from both the investor side and myself also from the founder side, we see that only 2% of the funding actually goes to female-led startups. And at the same time, there is too little female investors. So only 10% of all angel investors are actually women. So there is a gap there. There is a clear gap both on the funding side as well as on the wealth side, so where the capital is. So that is why we joined forces, right, Tessa? And we started AtVenture Platform. So really on this mission to make this ecosystem more diverse, more inclusive, and to close these gaps. Maybe Tessa, you can elaborate a little bit on how we are planning to achieve this mission, because we have quite a big mission. So maybe you can tell a bit more on how we are going to do that.
Yeah, so we have a couple pillars that we're working on. I think the most important one is the education piece. So what we're calling the AtVenture Academy, where our focus will be to train a lot of new angel investors. Training is just knowledge. Angel investing is also about doing and learning to do it. That's really where the value comes in and where the true learnings come in. So with our other two pillars, which are a community, which we call AtVenture Angels, and basically the deal flow or the capital investment piece, which we call AtVenture Allocate. Those three pillars combined are creating an angel accelerator. So it's the knowledge, but also the doing, so learning by doing. And we're already collaborating and hope to collaborate with a lot of new partners. Especially on the community side, you see that. There's already communities for example, women in VC. Start also from an EU perspective. There's Supernovas. Follows that program, that education program as well. And you have a newer program called Women Invest EU. So all these great initiatives, communities. Some are also education focused. Some are more focused on codes or getting the knowledge sharing. And also on the allocate sides, on the capital side, there's already some great initiatives out there helping women to invest. For example, Joanna Invest, which has a fund focused on an angel level fund focused on investing in female-led companies. Our aim will not only to educate and to get more angels, but also to collaborate and bring the community together so that we can achieve even more together.
Yeah, exactly. Working together, I think that can make things very, very strong. And of course, I think as well, like you said, the education part very important, and really to activate new angels as well. So really to get more investors into this space, and for that we also need corporates. We also need, government. We really need partners that that give actually their employees or their client a space to learn and to also become part of this ecosystem. So I think right now, I mean, you also come from corporate. I also worked at corporate, so these two worlds don't always talk to each other. So it's good if we combine all the worlds together, so we can really all work together towards this mission. I think that can make it even bigger.
Sorry, just to add one thing on the education side, we can also pick up the education piece for other communities or initiatives. For example, we can help educate investors that maybe they have less time. They prefer investing in a fund like Joanna Invest, but they still want to learn the basics, even if they may not have as much time to do all the deal sourcing. With Venture, will help with that. There's of course other communities. For example, the Angels Initiative, which focuses on women investing in women. Our scope is a little broader. We believe that if you support investing in diverse company or diverse led companies, whether it be women or other underrepresented groups like people of color, LGBTQ, then you're also welcome at AtVenture. So I think we can all strengthen each other. And that's really our goal with our three pillars. So the academy, the angel community, and the allocate, where we source deal flow, also to share with other investors.
Yeah, so I mean, if we continue on that, so you say that basically everyone can join us to invest in diverse companies. So can really everyone join us? So can anyone become a member? Is everyone welcome? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think as long as they share our mission, which is closing gaps. Our first focus is the gender gap because that's the one of the biggest. But there's other gaps, right? Other gaps in terms of diversity, underrepresented groups that also need help and are not represented in the startup and scale ecosystem and the investing ecosystem as much as other groups. So as long as the person believes in the mission that we're trying to achieve, they're definitely welcome to join us.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think a man investing in a female-led startup, is also helping to close the funding gap in the end. So I think we need everyone here.
Yep.
And other criteria for angel investors. So do you need to be a millionaire? How much money do you need to become an angel investor at AtVenture Platform?
Yeah, also a good question. So we have basically two types of memberships. We have, let's say, a full angel member. We ask them to be able to commit to tickets or investments in a company of 2,500. So assuming that the company is happy with that, or that we set up, we do a syndicate, so we invest together as one entity. So that's what we ask for our full members. But we also have a membership called Future Angels, where we also want to have people being part of the community that may not have that financial situation yet, but are interested and hope to do it in the future. But then they can already learn, build their network, and be part of that community. Learn about, how to source, how to evaluate, and I think, just to add also, what's important, this has to be money that you can miss, and it has to be money that you don't need next month. Because angel investing is not a liquid investment. It's for 5 to 10 years, and then hopefully you get a nice return. But you will also have companies that go bankrupt. You really have to look at it from a portfolio perspective. They say ideally you're doing over a period of 3 or 4 years about 10 investments. So that you have a diverse portfolio. That's something that a member does need to think about if they can commit to that. Full member. Of course, the future angel, we're not requiring them to invest. They are able to join a select portion of our community activities to already get a flavor and
help building the community as well. I think, and I think it's a good point that you mentioned, that it should be money indeed that you can miss, and I think that is also something that you learn during the trainings that we give. How can I set up my own investment thesis, right? How much do I invest in which company? And also, how does that fit into my whole portfolio? So maybe you are already investing in other things like real estate or something like that, and you actually want to diversify your portfolio. So I think those are all elements that we're also taking along into the trainings as well. So I think, it's good that you mentioned it. So we are based in the Netherlands, so Tessa and I are here, but we are looking also abroad, right? So not only the Netherlands is our scope, but also angels from other European countries are welcome. Maybe you can tell a bit about that.
Yeah, so I think, and by the way, not only angels, but also companies, startups. So,
Founders, definitely.
Yeah, also founders.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, so clear from the angel perspective. So we welcome angels members from across Europe. Can be women, men, actually anyone who really believes in making this ecosystem more diverse. So yeah, that's clear. So then if we look at the other side, so you already mentioned founders also are welcome from across Europe. That's true. What else can you tell about the investment criteria from a venture platform? So who can apply for funding at our platform?
First, let's look at, for example, the stage they're in. We usually, as angel investors, and same counts for AtVenture, we're looking at pre-seed or seed, meaning the early stage. They either they're still validating their product, being the pre-seed, or they're moving more to commercialization. That's usually what's happening in the seed phase. I think if you're moving to bigger stages like Series A, we may become less relevant because our tickets, aren't a couple 100,000, right? Once we build a large syndicate, and we can do
exactly. If we can do the millions, then
we want to fill the gap between, say, subsidies, grants, and the VCs, right?
Yeah.
So during those earlier stages, that's really where angels play an important role. So
like this, friends, families, and fools or fans, the new name. And indeed subsidies, grants, and then there is nothing because normal bank loan or VCs is difficult to get at very early stage. I think that's where we jump in, right?
Yeah, and of course, I mean, maybe it's obvious, but teams with a diverse composition, and obviously that's beyond just gender. We do see that, especially women, they struggle a lot. So that's definitely our initial focus. but also other types of diverse teams are welcome. And it definitely does not have to be an all diverse team. It's the diversity that matters. So I think that's another important criteria that we have. We already mentioned Europe. I think for now that's going to be our focus when it comes to investments. If we're talking about sector or themes, business models, I think we're pretty agnostic there.
Everything.
And meaning everything. Yes. Angel investing is a language on its own, right? And that's what we want to teach that to people. You demystify it. So you fall into the trap yourself.
Exactly.
So it could be any kind of sector or industry. Also, when it comes to business model, we're happy to look at B2B, B2C. All models are welcome. We also, of course, get asked sometimes what ticket size can people expect from us. I think what we've seen from now, it's been say between 30 and 50K. If groups of women invest, we're planning on increasing the number of our members to maybe do some bigger tickets. So I think that's I'd say in terms of round size, I'd say maybe between 100K and 1 million. With Her Capital Connection, we did have a few companies that were raising up to 2 million. But as long as they feel comfortable having smaller tickets, that's fine with us. But I think we can add the most value in that that
very early early stage. Yeah, no, absolutely agree.
Laurie, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think one thing to add is so we invest in everything across all sectors, business models in Europe. But like Tessa already said in the beginning, I think what angels are really looking for are scalable, innovative businesses. So if you have a regular shop, let's say a clothing shop that you're opening, I think that is more for other types of financing rather than angel investment. So we are really looking for companies that want to go global, that really want to grow very fast, and that really need funding in multiple rounds to actually get there. So I think that's something to clarify, because sometimes it's not always clear who can get an investment. Of course, you can always it is possible to talk and to get an investment from an investor to if you're opening a shop. But I think overall it is more really the big scalable things that we are looking at. Just to clarify that. And of course,
that'll be our focus, right?
That will be our focus. I mean, we're always willing to help, of course, if someone is looking for funding or has questions on how to do that. I think it's still, we can still add some value there. But in terms of really submitting your application, I think it's more for the scalable businesses. So I think that's something maybe to add. And maybe good to say that we will not invest in things that are, it feels a bit needless to say, but still, I say it that are bad for the people and for the planet. Let's say, Tessa and I mean, we both have kids. We really want them to grow up in a world, as good as possible in the next 50 years. So I think that is one of the focus points as well. That at least it should tick maybe one of the SEG to show that you also consider that.
Definitely.
So I think if we, I think one of the points that is also important, and we would like to see is some sort of traction. So even though a company is very early stage and maybe even pre-revenue, we are still asking for some sort of traction that you can show. So that could be the number of subscribers on your website or something like that. I think that's something that is important to mention as well. That we're looking at. Okay, and it goes back to, is there really a need for it? How can you show that there is really a need for it? So I think that's something that we are looking at as well.
Yeah, our customer research, right? I think people always forget that. Exactly, customer research or letters of intent. Even if traction doesn't necessarily have to be hardcore sales.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think good to mention that. Yeah. Okay, I think clear on the side of AtVenture Platform, at least, of course, for my side. But if there's questions, then please let us know. Tessa, I think it would be nice to give a final piece of advice from your side as an experienced angel investor, to give some tips to founders, your top three, to founders that are fundraising. So what should they do?
Yeah, I think first of the one I always find so important to share with founders is remember that you are special. Money is a commodity, right? And there's a lot of people that can give you money. Of course, we we as investors, of course, we think we're special, but we're not the ones coming with the innovative, unique, hopefully world-changing ideas. That's you, and that makes you special.
Yeah, we
I
should
think
be happy that we are part of your journey,
yeah,
right?
we
I
should
think
we
that's
should
yeah.
we should feel honored that we get to invest. I feel sometimes that relationship is off balance, and I think it's also because the founders think that they need to, say beg for money. So I always try to remind them, no, you are the special one. So that's my first tip. Second tip is network a lot. Way before you even need money. So you should be, for example, reaching out to Laurie and I even before you're thinking about or need to raise funds. It's a relationship game, right? Angel investing is also about, do I trust this team, and vice versa. Do they trust me as an investor, and not to be, say, a bad investor, because those people are out there. So make sure you're building your network, your investor network early. So that's the second thing, and the third thing is be careful with giving away too much equity, not only to investors, but also to people that are helping you. So, as they call sweat equity. So giving services or time in return for equity or for shares. Just be very conscious of what value this person can add now, but more especially in the future.
Yeah,
You don't want some
because sweat equity, becomes debt equity in the end. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And so meaning that the person still owns part of your company, but they're not adding any value anymore. That's what we call dead equity. So I always say, don't give away equity like it's candy.
no,
Maybe easy at the beginning. That they're going to build my IT, or they're going to do my sales. I'll give them some equity. Of course, it could be a great way to get someone on board and working for you, especially if you don't have money to pay salary yet. But just be careful about also the longer term consequences of that, because bigger professional investors, but also angels, will look at how much equity does the founder still have, also to grow into a future round. So that's just really important thing to think about when you're giving away equity.
yeah. No, good. Thank you for those tips. We will have many more coming as well. So follow us as well, so we can share some more insights. On the other hand, so you say, okay, these are your top three things to do. So what is on the opposite side an absolute major red flag in your view? When a founder is pitching to you or telling a story, what is it? What is a major red flag for you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily when they're pitching, but it's more in the conversation.
Yeah.
If I notice that they're not coachable, that's for me a major red flag.
Okay.
Because then I think, what value can I add besides just money?
Yeah.
If they're not going to be open to hearing my advice,
Feedback. Yeah.
sparring on things, but will just ignore everything that I say. Then I'm just an ATM machine, and that's not how I want to be acting as an angel investor. So for me, that's a major red flag.
Yeah.
If they're not coachable.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think it's more. I mean, it's not that they have to follow everything that you say, yeah, because of course the founder knows best, but more sometimes just a piece of advice, just to listen to it and at least be open to it, right? I think that's what you mean, yeah.
Exactly. Just to take it into consideration, and indeed, founders are going to be getting advice from all different
Exactly.
sources. Yeah, because the toughest thing is to make sure, or how do you decide on what you're going to do? Obviously, the founder's always the best.
Yeah, they know best. Yeah.
But sometimes your eyes can be opened by someone else, where you think,
Yeah.
oh wow, yeah, because that person is maybe a little further away from the situation. You get a totally new, interesting idea, and that person has to be open, and also not to beat a dead horse, right? To make sure that they're going to pivot on time. Because most times, my experience is that founders are pivoting 2 or 3 times before they actually get serious product market fit. Yeah. Indeed.
Okay.
Open to feedback is maybe a better
Open
way
to
of
feedback.
saying
Yeah, and I think
coachable.
same way for investors. I think it's also good as an investor to be open for feedback, right? Because a founder can also give you feedback, and I think it's just a nice conversation if you're at least open to it. Okay, and this is all for founders. Do you also have a tip or something to share for aspiring angels? So for someone who wants to become an angel investor, what would you say to someone like that?
Yeah, I think my important tip, in addition to the one we originally said, or said earlier, that this has to be money that you can miss, I would say start small and build up a portfolio. So, sometimes you hear people, oh, you need to do a 25K or 50K ticket. That's definitely not the case. I usually do tickets, usually 5, 10K. The biggest I've ever done myself is 15K, because I'm building up a portfolio. So that's what I say, start small. And then, if you have a huge exit and you want to do a much bigger ticket later, fantastic. And of course, if you have a lot of money and, these numbers are different, also fine. But even wealthy people or very wealthy people, I've heard them get turned off by angel investing because they did 250K tickets. Both went bankrupt, and they said, "Oh no, angel investing is not for me." So I think for anyone, it makes sense to start small and build up.
Learn. Yeah, and also learn by doing. Yeah.
Do bigger tickets if you have the opportunity financially as well.
Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for sharing that, Tessa. I think if I can add to that, I think from my side, I agree with your points, and I would add that it's also just really great to become an angel investor and to be part of a journey. If you see the pitch decks and the pitches, and you meet the founders, and they all have such an inspiring story to tell, you really want to be part of it. So I think becoming part of that community, of that ecosystem, is just something I get personally a lot of energy from. So I think I think that's it's a whole different world basically, and you can be part of it with just a very small support. So I think that's my point. Well, I think we covered some of it. We will be, of course, sharing much more details about AtVenture Platform, and of course also share more tips, tricks, and really teach more about angel investing and really details on how to do that, and what kind of form you can do that. So we will be back on that. So thank you for your time, Tessa. It was great also hearing your personal story, of course, and it was also great to hear your vision and your mission of AtVenture, and my vision as well of AtVenture Platform. So we have some call to actions. So that's actually one of the tips also for a founder to always end with a call to action. We also have a call to action. So first one is, if you're a founder with a diverse team and you're actually looking for funding, then go to our website and submit your pitch deck, and we will be in touch with you. And then, of course, for anyone who wants to become an angel investor, interested to know more about that, we will be launching our first angel accelerator cohort actually after summer. So you can already subscribe as a member and be part of that. And of course, like we said earlier, we really want to make a difference in this whole ecosystem by also involving other parties like corporates, the government, banks, to join our movement. So please reach out to me or to Tessa to learn more on how you can do that. So thank you. My name is Laurie Lancee, and this was AtVenture Dealflow. For more details on AtVenture Platform, you can go to adventureplatform.com. Thanks for listening, and see you at the next great deal.